I'm Leather Rock. Welcome to my channel. As you can see, I'm home from my being out and I played guitar, and luckily I didn't have any problems with any police. I was fully prepared to get a ticket and possibly even go to jail today because I was really afraid that if I saw my tormentor, I was going to give him a piece of my mind. I have gotten so many comments from people saying that I should stand up to him, even though there was one person who said that if a cop has a hard on for you, there's not much you can do but avoid him. And of course, that person was the oldest person that I mentioned all this stuff to. Now, when I try to talk to my mother about this problem, she still is of the opinion that the police are the authority figures that we have to respect and we have to obey them. And she just can't relate to the concept of a police officer that can actually hassle innocent people. My mother has never been on the fringes of society that I know of. She's never taken an illicit drug, for instance, at least not that she's admitted to me. She has always seen our police as the people that we should respect and admire, the people who serve and protect and all this stuff. And I don't believe that she's ever had an unpleasant encounter with a cop. She's probably never been adversarial with a police person. And until you have been on the receiving end of acrimony from a police officer, you just don't know what it feels like. And, I don't know how to make somebody like her take it seriously. And she's the first person to say that if I ever wind up in jail, she'll never bail me out. I mean, she's been telling me that since I was a kid. The only difference is back when I was a kid, maybe she could have afforded to. Now, there's no bail money. So I have a better chance getting a collection from my homeless friends than getting it from her. So, but today I went out approximately 7:15 or so, and I went to the Boardwalk Hall. Now, interesting thing happened. Some people there offered to watch everything, including the cart and my computer, mean a stage inside. I want to be clear in case some of you aren't familiar with the area. I'm talking about the stage on the boardwalk itself, not inside the facility. Well, when I went to where the people were, there's a bunch of people sleeping back there. And there was this one really rude guy who I didn't know that kept on saying, "Shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up." And it didn't occur to me that he was talking to me. And when I realized he was talking to me, I turned real bitchy. And I said, "You know what? How do I know that it isn't you that put that cop on my tail?" And I all but threatened that the next time I had my own police encounter, I was going to put him on the tail of this guy that was being rude to me, even though I couldn't possibly do it because I don't know who the idiot was that was giving me a hard time. But when he started with me, I took all my things back and I told the other people that, thank you for your attempts to help me. But if you're going to be idiots like this, I know better than to go where I'm not wanted. It seems to me that there's just whole classes of people that I think I'd be better off just staying away from certain social service agency hangouts to some idiots on the boardwalk. I just choose not to deal with things. I was trying to get the signal. I tried 3 different times to live stream from the boardwalk. I don't know what it was. I know that I got a signal because one of the companies that I do work from home stuff, I take surveys and I paid by the advertising on videos that I watch that are not on YouTube. Well, those videos were able to run on my computer, and yet I wasn't able to go live. Now, I don't know what's up with that. It seems to me that people with cell phones that use their data don't seem to have problems, but if you're trying to use public Wi-Fi, for some reason, that seems to be an issue. And I don't understand why it should be an issue. What I'm holding is just what you think it is. I was able to find 3 roaches on the boardwalk, and but none anywhere near my house. And I only went after I was done at Boardwalk Hall. I only went a little bit past Bally's to where the Korean War Memorial was. just in case some of the live streamers that I met might be there. But I only saw like 4 or 5 people I knew. After I got away from Bally's, I went down to Tropicana. That's where most of the roaches were, incidentally. And I ran into some more homeless friends of mine, and I felt really bad. They didn't know that I had a place to live, and when I told them, one of them asked if he could stay, crash over here, and I would love to put people up, but unfortunately, I live with 2 other people, and there was a time when maybe I could have snuck people over, but the thing is, when we rented this apartment, each of the doors came with a lock on it, but didn't have a key. And we started getting locked outside of our rooms. So the locks ended up being taken off. So as a result, my door doesn't click shut. So if somebody were to pull on the door, like a curious mother or such, then things could get awkward. And there's no room in the grow room because the grow room is being used as my storage room, and it's got all kinds of boxes and bags of clothes and things, as well as a handful of mice. But won't go there. So anyway, getting back to the roaches, I unrolled them and I have them in this thing here. I'm about to do some smoking. Oh, I found a new uh, ashtray today. Check it out. It's frosted glass and it's green and it's probably from a dollar store. But it was dropped off at this one particular spot on my street where people drop things off that they're giving away. And it's also a place where I drop off things. Oh, I got a new pair of sneakers today. I want to show you. Well, they're not new. They're new to me, but they look like they could very well be brand new because they don't have any wear on them at all. Check this out. They're Pumas. Now, I'm not a person that cares about names of sneakers or something, but what I like about them is the rainbow tie dye. And it's not just blue, red, and yellow. It actually has all the rainbow colors that you would expect. And doesn't seem like there's any wear on them at all. But I saw them and they fit, and now they're mine. But anyway, I'm really in the mood to do some smoke inhalation. I'm telling you, there's a lot of things I'm grateful for. Marijuana is one of them. When you're stressed out, when you're depressed, when you're in physical pain, marijuana is probably one of the best things there is. And it's certainly better than any of those psych drugs, certainly better than alcohol, certainly better than hard drugs, which really you shouldn't be taking for those other reasons anyway, because these drugs are just a temporary fix. But pot, there's something about pot. It feels like a hug from the universe. And when you're stressed out over money or police harassment or whatever, I'm telling you, there's something to this stuff. And if you don't mind, I'm going to inhale. So, anybody with weed, you want to smoke along with your sister? Oh, and I found a new lighter somebody left on the boardwalk, too. So, hey. No, I'm not spitting on my bare floor, even though these carpets are going to be tore up after we leave. Uh, I actually have a few pieces of paper strategically placed, so if I have to spit, I can spit. And then I just pick up paper. So, oh, there's something else I wanted to bring your attention, and this is actually would warrant a separate video. But since I can't seem to get the videos from this computer, I want to show this here. Before 9/11, when I was still living in Los Angeles full time, there was this alley that I used to check for recycling because LA, you can turn in your cans and your bottles and you get paid by the pound. And not a lot, mind you, but if you do your own recycling and you go into different places where people drink and stuff and you go and get their empties, you can make some money recycling. Well, on one of those days, I saw this piece of art that was thrown out. And unfortunately, it doesn't have a signature. And I don't understand why real art would be thrown out. To me, that is just such a waste. And if you look at it closely, this depicts a movie set of uh, of a ship, and there's so much detail. It's a pencil drawing, and it's hard for me not to shake this when I'm holding it. But if you can just take a look at some of this detail, I would like to find out who the artist is. Maybe the artist is out there somewhere and wishes they had their art back. Um, you know what? I think the masks are here in the room, Amir. I don't know that I have quite that one that you're talking about, the kind of the one that makes me look like a pig. But you know what? Let me see where I put them. They're either over here, maybe they're on my big. Give me a second. Oh, are you? Are you? Oh, it is so hot in here. I turned the fan off so that you guys can hear me. Uh, and wow, they turned down the rap that they're playing across the street. You know, um, I don't have any problems with my neighbors anymore. I totally made peace with the rap music and everything. And I pretty much don't care if people hang out on my stoop. Occasionally, people do throw me a little weed, and I guess maybe they bought my silence. Funny that you cease to annoy the stoner when you give them weed now and then. It's funny how that works, you know? And hey, I still let people ring my doorbell if they're hungry and they need a frozen Wawa sandwich or something. I keep a couple in my freezer. I'll stick in our toaster oven. But keep in mind, a toaster oven's not a microwave. Microwave does something in what, a half a minute. Toaster oven, you're going to be waiting about 20 minutes. But for those people that can wait, oh yeah, and a certain gate is open, which means I can put my recycling over there. Even though I've got other places to stick our recycling in, because you got all these municipal things, and we also on the street corners here, the businesses like they put all their cardboard, they put it all together, and they're picked up. So I got my spots. Okay, face mask. Where is it? Maybe it's. Oh, you guys remember Baby? Tabby Boy's Baby? It's funny. He has several toys like this, but this is the only one multicolored. And this is the only one that Tabby Boy would have put in his mouth, and he would cry this really weird cry. And nobody moved this, and Cassie didn't react to this. Tabby Boy, he acted like he was this father that thought he was the mother and thought this was his child or something. But I keep it in plastic so the mice don't tear it up. And yes, it's been washed of the germs and stuff. Where would that mask be? Let me see. Hmm. I know I put them all together so that I would have them for the next video. Whoops. I don't want to pull the plug on this because I don't want it to fall down. All right, there are my masks. Oh, here they are. I've got the masks. The masks are hanging with the G string, which ironically is not the kind of G string that my guitar needs. Now, one of the ambassadors who also plays, he said he had a string for me, but when I told him that I was not going to be on until after 12 o'clock because of the cop, you see, I think he probably leaves the boardwalk before 12. So, anyway, guys don't need to see the G string. All right, well, the only mask that I had on that is this one, which is, I think this is the Drager. And you see that I washed it, and the friction from my washing it rubbed off all the safety information. And I bet when you wash these things, you probably reduce the effectiveness because you might be causing abrasion to the fibers. But you know what? If I get germs on something, I'm going to wash the germs off. I don't want something to touch the ground, touching my skin. No way, man. Whoops. I recommend if you have a nose ring like this, be very, very careful with strings like this because you get caught and it's not fun. Also have to be careful because the lipstick I'm wearing is not the no transfer kind. So transferable lipsticks and lip glosses can and do come off on the inside. And then if you use enough friction when you're washing them to actually take the lipstick off, you're probably going to reduce the effectiveness of this. I wonder if I could blow out a. You know what? I don't want to catch this on fire, so let's not do this. Yeah, if I was riding public transportation, I would feel more comfortable and I would feel safer. Also, if I was at a political demonstration and I wanted a little bit of make it harder to identify me, this would give me more anonymity. Uh, it's interesting though that it's so many, let's just say, political gatherings. People during the thick of COVID, people were not wearing the masks, but yeah, I gotta find it or a mask. I mean, I had at least five of them, and I had a piece of luggage that I specifically had a bunch of face masks in. The only problem is it's in the grow room. In the grow room, the light doesn't work, unless I would unplug this light and carry it over there. It's just, I don't want to waste that kind of time, especially if I'm here live and then if I leave the camera, then it looks kind of unprofessional. Of course, everything about my channel looks unprofessional, so really, I don't think you guys are going to tell on me. Uh, See if I have any more of those masks. I have something that's beautiful but has no medical effectiveness whatsoever. At least it has a metal thing to adjust. Love this. But this lets so much air and there's so much room. This wouldn't protect me from anything. There's no. See how loose this is? And even if I bent here, you know, this is good for maybe a costume party or something, but these would not protect anybody from anything. And this is what you can get when you go in a hospital. I noticed they don't ask you to wear masks in the hospitals and the clinics anymore. I guess these give a little bit of protection against some water droplets and things. But and then you use these in combination with the shield. But it's funny the things that governments tell you are good, and then they lie, and then we find out that maybe the lies were the truth and the truth was the lies, and you wonder why people get confused. This reminds me of both Brave New World and 1984. Now, I haven't read them since high school, and I often get them confused. The one that mentions Oceania and the one that talks about um, the truth in the news and they kept changing it, that is the one that just seems like present day so much. Uh, yeah, I have to find it. Uh, I should have everything all together. Maybe it's in the hallway. Hold on. Hey, does anybody want to join the fire department? Actually, you want to know? I have to say something controversial here, and it's sexist and maybe even anti-feminist, but it's how I feel. If I wanted to be a firefighter, I don't think I'm qualified. You want to know why? I don't really know that women should do this. I know how hard it was to carry my father when he was dying, and he had lost so much muscle mass. My father's not wasn't much taller than me. He, my mother and I could not lift him. A firefighter should be able to deadlift somebody, carry them out of a burning building, down a ladder, and outside. I wouldn't trust somebody my size, 105 pounds and 5'3", try to carry me out someplace. I'm sorry. You have to be physically able to do the job. And yes, that means some kind of physical strength. And I think some testosterone is involved. You know, whoever is most qualified for the job should do it. And that wasn't really what this live stream was about. It just happens when I saw this little fire hat toy thing, I had to mention it. I know that there's equality and fairness and all that stuff, but if part of the job qualification involves a certain physical brute strength, unless there are certain roles within firefighting where you're just doing paramedic stuff and you're not actually, there's certain things I think you should weigh 250 pounds. Just my opinion. Just my opinion. And if you happen to be a firefighter and you're watching this, please don't take it that is a personal thing. But you know what? You got to think about practicality and you got to think about safety. Am I right? If I'm going to ride an airplane commercial, I want the most qualified pilots. I don't care what your color is. I don't care what your gender is. I just want you to be qualified. If I'm going to a doctor, you could be from Mars for all I care. As long as you're qualified, as long as you know medicine, as long as you know my anatomy, and not just a generalization, or men more. Just whoever's most qualified. That's the fairest thing. And with sports, nowhere stand. So just make things fair. And if you're a police officer, target criminals, not innocent people. And when you know that there is a economic disparity, you don't abuse the poorest people. And that goes for anybody in a position of power. It's not attractive to use your power to control people who can't defend themselves against you. It's not attractive. You know what's attractive? Doing good for people who can do nothing for you. Like animals. Animals can't do much for us except, well, if they let us kill them for food, or if they're a cow who gives the milk freely, or the chicken can give eggs, you know. But our pets, they're not generally as intelligent as us. I don't know. I'm sure there's some exceptions. We love them. We feed them. We take care of them. That's a pure love. They can. You can't earn the kind of love that a pet gives you. You treat animals with love and respect. I hope you don't think I'm a hypocrite because I'm not a vegetarian. I'm sorry, animals do taste good, but you don't fucking torture them. It's just basic morality. You don't be cruel, right? Oh man. You know what? I actually did a little bit of singing today. I was really messing around. It was basically stuff about police and squirrel. I fed nuts to a squirrel today. That was the coolest thing. Is I started off with, I had these almonds and these walnuts, and they were starting to get stale. When things start to get rancid, they're not fun to eat. And you got to watch out with the squirrels. You got to catch them before they go to bed. And I don't think they like to be around at all during the night. I think they're pretty much just day creatures. You don't see them around. Now, mice, I think, are all day and night. I saw a mouse near a trash can with a little mouse, and he had the round ears. It was just so cute. And I stopped and I went digging for my nuts. I was going to crumble one up and give food to it. Just the cutest thing. He ran. They're so little, they can fit underneath the boards in the boardwalk. And sometimes there's holes uh, up against the buildings they will go in. It's the cutest thing. Oh, yeah. Uh, Thursday, pest control is going to come. And I feel really bad for the mice because all these other times, the pest guy, all he's done is he gave some snap traps and they got hidden by somebody in his house. And the glue traps that were given out like over a year ago, I hid Didn't do anything with them until fairly recently, where I have been attaching them to wall surfaces for non-mouse problems. And sometimes I accidentally smear the glue places where I told you about the mouse that got caught on glue that I got smeared on one of the chair legs, and I had a real good time rescuing the mouse. But I got the glue off of them. Salad oil is really good, probably the best thing that most people have accessible to dissolve glue from glue that gets on animals or your skin or your hair. Use some salad oil. It doesn't have fumes like solvents like alcohol would have. And that way it won't burn eyes, nose, mouth, or other skin of the animal that you're trying to rescue. I When the pest guy comes, I mean, because we don't have cats now, so there's no reason for them not to do any bombing or do whatever they can do. And I know everybody in the back and the people downstairs, they want it. You see, what I didn't know until like a month or two ago is that the people down, the whatever is downstairs, and the people behind us, they were bombing and spraying and things. And as the landlord didn't know, and of course we're always the last to know, but Thursday the whole building is getting some kind of treatment. And I know the rodents are an issue downstairs also. And most of the people in this building don't care about how humanely things are being done. I'm the only one that wants things done in a kind way, and I don't have any pull. If anything, the only thing that I think our family was able to successfully do, we were able to successfully pester the landlord, because the landlord sometimes listens to somebody else in this building, and nobody in this building has any authority over anybody. Everybody pays money to the landlord. But there are some people in this building who have other people thinking that they are actually the landlord. And we think that's really comical because, first of all, this is the landlord we have now is the second landlord we've had since we've lived here. And my family's lived here 14 years now. Nobody else in this building has been in this building anywhere near as long as we have. So if seniority gave us any rights at all, we would have the rights. But hey, we're just people who pay too much rent for a hovel in a crappy part of town that, as crappy as it is, still has certain things going for it because it's near the casinos and it's near the beach. And, occasionally the brothers drop roaches near my front stoop and I'm able to inhale. So I am grateful for that. But now I was able to go out successfully from 7 till what 1:30 ish. And I did see some police, and including the ones in the buggies, but they were going very fast and they didn't stop at me. And when I saw them, I didn't look at them at all. Now, I'm wearing an oil that I got made at an occult store in Hollywood, California. The oil is actually called Court Case, and I had it for uh, a court case. And just because you have an oil for a certain purpose doesn't mean the oil is going to work. You still have to do visualization and you have to think real strongly. But I figured I would assume similar energies and thus similar ingredients would be used in something to get favorability in a court case, as which would to get police off your back. So I wore it on me like a perfume instead of anointing a candle. And I went about my day, and I didn't have any encounters with any authority figures. And of course, that said, it didn't protect me from having to run in with the idiot back there. But that said, that person wasn't an authority figure. So Uh, the energies that I was wearing were protective but geared toward the authority figure aspect. So, and I'm assuming also, since court cases, I'm see today is Tuesday. Tuesday's the day of Mars, especially on planetary hours, which would be the planetary hour of every day of the week is always 1 a.m. the day before, 8 a.m. that day, 3 p.m. that day, and 10 p.m. that day. Those are all universal planetary hours. Well, not universal planet Earth planetary hours, but that way the day of the week matches the planet that rules it. And if you keep those planetary hours in mind, you have your hours for every day of the week if you use planetary hours for workings. And those of you who know what I'm talking about understand what I'm talking about. So, but I really would like to have a little bit more of this because why not, right? I mean, I like to think I earned it after dealing with some crazies and some nice people and and some generous people on the boardwalk. And yeah, I only wish I could put people up, but I don't live alone, and people were never totally quiet. And plus, what if you wanted to use a shower and the shower is actually near the other end of the hall where the other roommate is, and that would mean passing by my mother's room, and her door's always open, and she'd have a cow. And I'm not making ice cream, so we don't want that. 3 speech. Oh, I made 2 new pairs of footless stockings today. I found 2 pairs of tights in a free clothes pile, and one of them I was almost going to wear as is, as to play guitar in, and I realized there was a hardened piece of glue of some kind right underneath the buttocks on both sides. So I cut them off, and they're black with silver lightning bolts, kind of like Ace Frehley lightning bolts. And the other one is a plum and white tie dye, and I cut them off. And so it's always good to have different shades of purple to match with different things. And I have them in my stocking boxes in my grow room because I didn't want to have them. I have so many clothes on my bed that I need to put someplace because I can't really hang up too many things more in the closet because I'm afraid the rod's going to break because they're wooden rods. And and I try to look at my clothes and think, what can I give away? What have I worn a lot? What am I tired of? But I don't really keep things I don't love. At least when I get clothes around here, I don't get yelled at for getting from the children's section. I can't help it that I was made with a very small body that needs small sizes. That's just the way it is. And why somebody would purport to be offended just because of where I get clothes. One time I was in that. This reminds me of something that happened to me years ago at the wasn't a Goodwill store. It was a Salvation Army's thrift store on Albany Avenue here in Atlantic City, and they have men's section, women's section, teen section, children's section, and it was on a 50-cent day, which was Wednesdays. And I was in the children's section, and I was looking at clothes, and I was holding them up to me, and I was getting some real nasty looks, and it's like, and it was by people who were not the same size as me, also, I will add, who, why would you be offended at my finding something that fits me? I don't understand for the life of me why that's offended. That would be no more offensive than my knowing that somebody speaks Spanish and them finding a Spanish language newspaper and watching it, or them turning on a Spanish language radio station. It's their language. That's what works for them. Wouldn't bother me. I see people wearing Eagles t-shirts all the time. I'm a Steelers fan. Does it bother me? No, because people do their things. I do not take drugs. I have not taken a drug since November 19th, 2001. That's my sober date. And my sober date of alcohol is the same, 2004. Marijuana is the only thing I do. And marijuana, what it does for help with grief, what it does for arthritis pain, and there's different kind of strains that are better for different kinds of pain. The more you really learn about it, and especially if it has a little bit of CBD in it, it's that little bit, 2% of CBD. It does something. It adds to the THC. You want to have multiple cannabinoids. Cannabis is a whole plant, and it's just like, no, if I'm in pain and I'm really in pain, or if I think I'm having heart attack symptoms, I'll chew an aspirin or two because you want to get aspirin right into the bloodstream. And aspirin is a blood thinner. And if you think you're having a heart attack, why aspirin helps some people is, and I'm not a doctor, so uh, I don't want to get a disinformation. For that's the thing is YouTube takes down live streams, accuses us of spreading disinformation, and I'm not lying. I'm not spreading disinformation. I'm not bullshitting. I've been smoking weed since I was 15 years old. I love weed, and yeah, you know what I did on the boardwalk today? Usually, when I'm out there playing, I don't tend to sing much. I just play because I'm working on practicing my chord progressions. And you know what? Since you fail me, that's pretty catchy. Um, and I believe in supporting other YouTubers. When I get off of this, I am going to look for you, and I'm going to check you out because I believe in. It's like I love it when I meet other YouTubers. Every now and then I'll be out there and I'll meet somebody. When I was in Washington D.C., I met a guy who has a channel called Let's Be Frank because his name was Frank. And but the sad thing is they took his channel down. And the thing is that he wasn't doing music; he was doing news commentary, and he was into the similar political stuff that I was into, but I don't think he approved of the weed, and he was didn't believe in certain freedoms that I believed in, and so we agreed to disagree on that. But and he lived down south someplace, and he would sometimes give news reports when they would have the flooding down in Tennessee, and he would he built his own underground safe room so that if like there's a tornado, people really should be able to uh, have be to go underground. If we had a tornado, we wouldn't have a safe place to go. I would always used to think when my father was alive that we would just go to Boardwalk Hall. It was used to be called Atlantic City Convention Hall, and we would just go in the underground parking garage. I would think that that would be a safer area because it's underground, and I don't think water from the ocean and stuff could get down there. But and there's rooms, there's got to be rooms beneath that. I used to be able to, I wanted to be able to give tours because I could walk around and stuff. Um, but now they've changed, they've done more construction around there, and they added walkways so that people, when you get your tickets torn, you can go to the usher and they can take you to your seats. And so they've changed a lot since my father was alive. Okay, you fail me. I is making some comments that, and I'm not reading all of them because I don't want to violate his privacy. But he says that he has a bunch of music videos, and his channel is also called "You Fail Me." And he says he plays guitar and sings. And this is my room. Yes, it looks like hell because I'm a slob. I have not been a good housekeeper since I was 11 years old. Unfortunately, I wish I could be. Um, and I'm going to give you a look at the floor. This is my new computer. Um, that those were the carrier of my cat. They're not alive anymore. That was a cat bed to the side here. This is another cat carrier. This is a cat tree. Um, not alive, obviously. Uh, some very good books here that I think somebody wants to buy, and I'm willing to part with them. Uh, this is a very useless cell phone that I can't do anything with apparently because it is so very old. It's a ZTE, holds 32 whopping gigabytes. I was hoping that I could at least learn to use this to film videos and post them to YouTube, but I can't even get on YouTube with this thing. So, and I never had a contract with it. I was just going to use Wi-Fi. I've never owned a cell phone. Um, you're a girl, so am I. Gender doesn't matter to me, by the way, even though I'm not quite sure what to make of this non-binary thing. I know what trans is. I have a few transgender friends. I think some of that's a social contagion and not necessarily true gender dysphoria. That's just my 2 cents on it, just because I've been around the sun a bit. As far as how old I am, I would like to keep that a big, deep, dark mystery because I want to go back to Hollywood. And Hollywood, I'll tell you the thing about Hollywood. I lived there before. I'm from here originally. I'm here in Atlantic City, New Jersey. I lived in Los Angeles for a while. I didn't try out the music when I went out there because I was focusing on modeling and dancing, and I fell into acting. But then a little thing called 9/11 happened, and that's how I came back here because the work stopped. And I was on the street a lot when I was in Los Angeles. Um, I'm older than you, but in LA, women unfortunately are judged with youth in mind. If you're no longer looking young, women are judged. You just disappear. The parts dry up. Men, you can look at Robert Redford. He hasn't had any work done on him. His wrinkles have wrinkles. He still looks great, and he's a director. He still occasionally acts. He's got the respect of everybody. Everybody loves Robert Redford. Even if he hadn't started Sundance, he had Robert Redford, and he chose not to get any Botox or anything. Men can get away with that. Women, a lot of times, if you're 35 and you haven't started to get Botox, I mean, people are getting it. Did you know that there are countries in Germany? Now, I've never been there. This is just something I read. There are countries in places in Germany where so many people get Botox that people don't know what normal aging looks like. You don't see these wrinkles. When I lift my forehead, these wrinkles, even when I have the resting bitch face, I've got these wrinkles. I've got this. I want Botox so bad, but I can't afford it. I've wanted Botox since the 90s, okay? I kept on hoping the price would go down. Mhm. You know? And the thing is, once you get it, you got to get it every 4 months. So think about the cost. Uh, and you know what? The last time I went out to play guitar, I made $4. I don't know if it's safe to start saying like how much you're making because I don't know if the IRS is monitoring me, but I made $54 tonight. Several people gave me fives. I don't think that was too bad. Certainly better than $4. See, that's what happens when you go out at 7 p.m. instead of 1 in the morning. When you're in fear of somebody that's working a 4 to 12 shift, and you don't want to be caught by him because he threatens you with a ticket that could be up to $2,000. And see, I really do feel that I'm being targeted when so many people that are out at the same time are still on the boardwalk playing. And I know because I see them on YouTube. I see them on different people's channels. There's this guy, his name is Lou. He has a channel here on YouTube called Rise Up AC. He focuses on homeless people and their stories, and if there's an issue impacting the poor and the homeless here in town, he mentions it. So, which I do the same thing, but I mean he focuses on that. Whereas I happen to love a lot of these homeless people, and I've been homeless, and a lot of my social networking kind of stuff. When my cats died and when I lost that tablet with the last year and a half of my YouTube channel, and I have not been on Facebook, by the way, since then. I have not been in contact with anybody except for who I see on the boardwalk and who I talk to on YouTube. So, and there's like one or two people who I talk to who are friends of mine. But other than that, nobody checked up on me when I dropped off the face of this earth. In my dark moment, they say you know who your friends are when things happen? When you're down and out or something happens, some kind of tragedy, people disappear. Who's actually around? And you know who's been there? There's this one person, his name is Craig. He lives in Washington, D.C. He doesn't have a YouTube channel, and it's a shame he doesn't because he ought to be. But he is a really decent human being who has been homeless. And there's a program in Washington, D.C. that gets homeless people off the street and into really nice apartments. And, they guess they vet you to figure out that you're not going to fuck it up. And this guy is a neat freak. He has the neatest apartment of like any human being I know of any gender. It's a hardwood. They get you a 1 bedroom apartment in a not bad neighborhood at all, with tree lined streets. If you had to pay the rent there, it would be $2,500 a month. He doesn't pay a cent. I'm glad that our government, at least some places, does good things for people. I'm not saying that you got to take care of everybody and wipe everybody's ass, but there are some people that are just good people that aren't working for whatever reason. Maybe they're doing a lot of volunteering, which is what this guy does. He staffs this hippie tent in Lafayette Park, which is a park across from the White House, which sees so much action, so much excitement, demonstrations. When those numbnuts were pulling down statues and he burned a church across the street, if he was there that day, I don't know if he was staffing it then, he's gotten to witness so much history. And because that place has been there since either the 70s or the early 80s, I forget. As long as somebody staffs it 24/7, it's allowed to be there. It's like a structure, it's a permanent structure, it's allowed to be there. And it's covered with all these peacenik stains and all kinds of things. And it's right across from the White House. You literally see the White House looks this big across the street. And if you ever need a place to crash, you don't mind sleeping outside, and it's the safest place in the world. I've done it. I would never recommend you guys do anything that I haven't done. Well, maybe with certain exceptions, like certain things it would be physically impossible for me to do. Like I can't father a child, so I can't really talk about that. But and I've never had a child, so I can't talk about that either. Okay, I guess I missed the board on that one. But now again, 9/11 bringing me back here where social life just wasn't possible, and well. And I don't know if I regret that or not. But anyway, you wanted to know a safe place to stay for nothing. Say you get the bus to Washington, D.C. from here. There's only two arrivals and departures. You arrive 3:05 in the morning. You don't want to get a hotel room that's going to kick you out at 11 a.m. or a shelter kick you out at 6 or 7. Take a park bench and sleep on it. Yes, I'm serious. Lafayette Park is the safest place to sleep on a park bench. Get one of those benches that's closer to the White House side. You can't miss it because you see the White House. It's really well lit. Don't let the fact that there's police walking around scare you because they're not worrying about you. Put a piece of paper on the bench. And then we're assuming it's a clean bench, right? And we're assuming if you got hand sanitizer, wipes, feel free to wipe it down. Always carry an umbrella. I carry umbrellas because I'm allergic to the sun and I walk around with umbrellas. You're going to want to open up the umbrella in front of your face after you lay down. Well, take your backpack, which I hope you have, and you can either use it as a pillow or you can put it on your chest. You probably want to use it to give yourself some cushion. Have another paper that you can open up in front of your face. Um, I like to, if I'm wearing my mini skirt, which let me remind you is what I am wearing. What I like to do is I like to take a t-shirt. Let me grab you a big oversized t-shirt because I like to demonstrate this. Okay. My big oversized t-shirt. Uh okay. Here we go. It's not that oversized, but it'll do. Okay. What you do is you put it on upside down sticking your legs in where the feet holes go. You see where I'm getting? So your legs are in this, and you pull it up. And what it does is it gives you an extra layer of nobody can look up your skirt. And it gives you an extra bit of warmth because it covers you to about here, kind of like a sleeping bag. And so your legs will dangle out the holes, but it is additional modesty that might make you feel more secure when you're sleeping. Now, this won't apply to the fellas, but you know what, fellas, if you're wearing shorts, and you want to, a little bit cleaner, and you don't feel like pulling on sweatpants or whatever, or digging another pair, bigger, bulkier item out of your clothes, yeah, use a t-shirt. It just obviously has to be a real, like, say, well, this is an extra large shirt, and adult size, and I normally wear a child's medium on up. Okay, so, but yeah, sleep there in the park. The cops, you've got park police, you've got Secret Service, and I forget what the other one is, but they're not worried about you. They're worried about threats to the president. They're worried about violence. Um, there's bathrooms nearby. There's the McDonald's has a bathroom. And there's so much Wi-Fi around there. Oh, the only thing is, even though marijuana is legal there, it's not supposed to smoke it on federal property, and Lafayette Park is federal property. Now, there's a workaround. If you roll joints look like tailor made, even with eagle eye vision. Sometimes the cops, you see them with the shock machine guns on the roof of White House, and you see them walking around, all AKs, whatever. Just accept it. They're not after you. Don't worry about it. But if you want to smoke weed on federal property, joint, not a bowl, and stand behind a metal statue. My favorite is the Andrew Jackson statue. It's a man on a horse in a part of Lafayette Park that's not where the hippie tent is, but the wall going toward, I think, 17th Street. And I think H maybe is that street. Because, I use the White House kind of as a landmark. When you get into town, you're getting in Union Station is where the Greyhound is, and that's real close to the Capitol. But maps are free and plentiful. Get them. Uh, but yeah, weed is legal, and I heard magic mushrooms are legal too. I wanted a trip this summer, but not not in this house before the pest issue is dealt with. Mice don't bother me. I think they're cute, except they poop and they pee. The pee you don't realize until you get that. There's a certain kind of smell that isn't really offensive until you realize that it's not natural and you got to rewash everything. But they poop things. And then you think that you have things washed and protected. I started washing and packing up things a couple years ago. In my grow room, I would have these clothes set aside, and then the mice would bite a hole at the bottom. And then sometimes you would see these crumbles of like paper that was chewed for their nesting material, and that would get all through things. And that would make you realize that I'm going to have to wash these things all over again and then find some safe place to put them. I really like those zipper bags that blankets come in. They're really good for protecting clothes. But I need so many more of them to. I would like to rewash these things. See, I have to do all my washing by hand, and it takes so much time. But if you knew how expensive laundromats were, when I lived in LA, laundromats were between 75 cents and $1.25 a load. And then drying was either a quarter or 50 cents, depending on how long it was. Now, I understand that times have changed as far as gas prices and maybe the cost of heating, whether the fuel is electric or gas or oil or whatever. But damn it, the laundromats here are way too much. I don't think you can go to any cheaper than $5 for a load, and that's such a small amount. You could do it by hand. It's ridiculous. I mean, I would think of using my bathtub, except it's hard to keep it clean, and a certain other person in my house uses it 25 times more than I do. So I'm not responsible for the messes. I try not to go there as much as possible, except you obviously have to shower. But it's not a place you want to hang around. At one point it was going to be our safe room in case of a tornado. Now my mom says it's better to just go in the hallway. All right. I keep on thinking there was something else I wanted to bring up about tonight, but uh, yeah, I will. Oh yeah, if anybody knows how to more easily, I'm using this Windows 11 machine. I can't seem to get the file from my computer uh, accessible when I try to upload to YouTube. That's the reason why I'm doing all these live streams. It's just I don't like the fact that the live stream can be taken down by YouTube so easily, unless you download it like right away. And I'm afraid to talk about anything really important because that's the stuff that YouTube likes to take down. But whenever I have the content that I have in here to get the photo album to show, I don't understand why it has to be so complicated. Uh, it's not like it's Windows 11 just started and they have to iron out the bugs. Windows 11's been out for a while. And I understand there's a way to go to get a legacy setting so that the photos looks like Windows 10. But I tried. Kim Commando tried to explain it. I get her newsletter. I tried to follow the directions, but it stopped the procedure. I stopped seeing the steps that she said that I was supposed to see. Maybe it's because I am using Microsoft Edge. I don't know, but anyway, I couldn't figure out how to do that. And I really haven't invested any more time in trying. Well, actually, every time I just haven't bothered trying to film anymore since if I can't I took a bunch of pictures, I can't retrieve them. So it's like, what's the point? So I'm thinking, do I need to buy another device? I don't want to spend the money yet. All these tablets I'm seeing, the cheap ones don't store much. And you see how 128 gigabyte can take a year and a half, and that's if you delete some of the things, you know. So as a result, I'm creating less content now. But then again, my cats are dead. When you don't have pets, I mean, so much of my content was focused around them. Oh, she's beautiful. Thank you. You know what? The only reason why you're saying this is because my hair is so light now and my roots are out to here. I've been adding spot bits of hair dye so it still looks purple. But I even tried this dye in a spray form and it didn't show up too much at all, despite what the color looked like. Uh, I don't want to wash it in too much of a hurry because I'm afraid that then it's going to be more flattened. And I love it having volume and being really big. And this all stemmed from my cornrow braids. I had my braids in for like 5 months and they started to dread up and it became kind of tangled, but it looked good. And the thing is, at first it had that real tight zigzag thing. And then one Saturday, I got caught in the rain. I didn't have my guitar because I didn't want to get the guitar wet. But a bunch of my friends were up on the boardwalk. Wait a minute, I think I did have my guitar, but I had a big plastic bag over it. But even though I pulled my hair back on top of my head, the rain kind of it fused it all together. And then instead of it having the tight zigzag, it kind of had more of a curl thing, but I still like it. But it's still, I have spots where my hand can't get out of it. I have to really work at getting it out. It feels like it's really moist because the salt air, which feels really great on the skin. One of the things I enjoyed about when I didn't go out till 1 in the morning I washed my face completely. I didn't have any face makeup on at all. I just had lipstick, my eyebrows, and my eye makeup. And I figured let the ocean air do whatever facial, when you live without air conditioning, like I normally have a fairly detailed skincare routine. I like to put different uh, retinol, vitamin C, lotion, maybe a little tiny bit of an oil, eye cream, different things, face masks. But when it starts getting really hot by sometimes late June, it gets so humid and so stuffy hot. And I don't have air conditioning. I have this fan, which I don't have on right now. And sometimes it gets hot enough, it just feels like a blow dryer is hitting me. And I can't stand the feel of anything on my skin. So the only thing I put on my skin is sunblock and maybe foundation makeup. I always wear sunblock, but if it's all real hot, I can't stand the feel of skincare on my skin. So I use usually a bar soap, a decent bar soap, and there's so many good bar soaps. On New York, no, I am in Atlantic City, New Jersey. So we are where the Statue of Liberty is really in New Jersey, even though it's actually very close to New York City. You can't see Statue of Liberty from here. But I quit live streaming over a year ago because YouTube started targeting my live streams. It has taken so many of my videos down because of misinformation. Because I've been doing YouTube for almost 12 years now. And I've done makeup tutorials. I have done uh, lots of marijuana videos, lots of cat videos. I've done cooking videos. But when I started emulating the news guys on TV, especially the Fox News guys and Newsmax, uh, One America News, different things, really anybody who I respect. Once I started emulating them, not in how they dress, of course, because I have my own fashion sense, but once I started comporting myself like them, but covering news items and opinion like them, but with my own opinions, and I found that controversy seemed to do well on my channel. But then YouTube started getting strict with what we were and we're not allowed to talk about. And it's kind of ironic because we have other things we have to worry about as YouTubers. Like you can't use copyrighted material. You have to avoid other people's music. When I'm filming out and about, I'm going out of my way to avoid the beach bars and the casinos are always blasting all this music. Unless I'm filming a concert, in which case they almost always let you use the music. They just get this notice that they know that the music is theirs. And if you ever get to the point where ads are put on there, then the ad revenue will go to the artist whose video it is. When I showed scenes from the Tidal Wave Country Music Festival last summer, for instance, that was, and from Fish, that was all obviously their music. I didn't try to get access to any of that music this year. First of all, I can't be in the sun. Second of all, when that cop started intimidating me, I mean, he did so much harm to me by threatening me, lying to me, and then I'm finding out that everybody else is still up here during that time. He cost me a shitload of money. He cost me being able to hang out with my friends. A lot of my friends have very serious drinking problems and they get up, I guess, fairly early, especially if they're homeless. And if they're drinking from the time they wake up and they get pretty shit faced drunk by the time they go to bed, they still go to bed pretty early because they need to sleep when they can, where they can do so without hopefully being found out by some authority person, depending on where it is they're trying to sleep. So I guess if you are drinking, maybe you're used to having a certain schedule because you have to allow time for sleep or else you'll just pass out or something. I don't know. I haven't had a drink since 2004. But, and when I was homeless, I very rarely drank. I was much more into amphetamines, truth be told, because it was a lot more fun. To me, if you're going to do drugs, they should be fun and they should be useful in your life. I'd like to think that my speed experience was largely fairly useful. It kept me thin. I didn't sleep. I didn't eat. I mean, we know that's not healthy, but it's what it was. And I'm not going to lie to you and say I regret those years. I mean, and I wrote a lot of good poetry and a lot of good song lyrics. Most of my creative outputs were under the influence. That was true for so many of us. I just wish that I had known that I could be musical also. I knew a couple of chords, but because I started playing guitar when I was 11, literally. But and you never forget your first chords. But I started getting into growing my fingernails, and then I went to beauty school and I learned how to do fake nails, even though I always grew mine real. And I always proud of myself in having long fingernails, and so I always grew them out, like when I was in California and stuff. And I saw myself as a writer and a model, an actress, and a dancer. Oh man, especially dancing. But it took an arthritis diagnosis in my hands and feet and me to confront the idea that maybe I couldn't rely on dancing, especially since I now have arthritis, that caused me to reevaluate music. And even when I broke this finger and I had to do everything left handed, I got so much inspiration, so many melodies were flooding into my head. There wasn't a whole lot I could do with them because I didn't have musical means to record them or anything, but I've kept a lot of them live through different means through the years, and now I am accumulating a collection of musical instruments. By the way, they started falling and hitting up against each other, so most of them are in my mother's room in her bed, actually, and she's not too amused by it. But when we get our pest problem dealt with, I want to get a couple of stands because I have a bass and I have the two electrics. And I'm not going to get the second electric set up anytime soon, though, because that's a monetary investment. And it's just like I haven't got my amplifiers yet. Until we get all our things that need controlling, I don't want to get electronics that might get adversely affected by the vermin. Let's just say it that way. I'm nervous about this computer, something happening. And that 6 terabyte Seagate drive that I got to back my channel up, I keep that in the box when I'm not actively using it for the downloading. It's a different kind of drive than I expected. I was kind of hoping for something like an SSD. It didn't have moving parts, and I can see when it's plugged in, it actually spins. But and I want to use this handful of flash drives that I have to also get copies of those videos because they say you should have like minimum three copies of your stuff just in case. Because I really want to transfer this channel and these videos to uh, other platforms, that will allow my content. I have a Twitch account, but I think Twitch is too strict as far as their hate speech standards. If they, uh, standards like that would never allow me to get political with my commentary because I'm not a politically correct person. That just wastes time, and it basically allows people to pretty much out and out lie, just out of politeness or euphemisms, or it's an excuse to lie and tell it in a pretty convenient sanitary manner. And truth is really what needs to be communicated. It's a shame that sometimes the people that tell the truth are punished, and a lot of times that sucks. So it is now 3:02. Uh, oh man, what is it in Canada? I watch the Weather Channel. Uh, Dave Averino. Um, and I'm fascinated by the people who are willing to live really far up north, where it just seems so cold, and you're living so remote, and literally you can't rely on public transportation. Everybody has vehicles, and they're usually trucks, and sometimes maybe they're snowmobiles. And it seems like, I mean, I admire the fearlessness that I think it must take to be able to live in a remote village where you got to wait for the ships that send everything in like once a year, that I just learned about through the Weather Channel. I am so used to being in the city, and like, I complain about the cold in our winters here if I have to hang out outside for any length of time. One of the things I love about Southern California is the weather. It is so nice and warm. You got the palm trees. I mean, can you imagine middle of December, 70 and 80, 70 something, 80 something degree days? I would wear a bikini underneath a sundress, and I would take the sundress off and pose in front of Christmas trees in Hollywood. I would do that the first couple of years I was out there, just because, but then after that, I started coming back for Christmas. I thought it was important to spend the first year or two, full year. When you go away from home for the first time, I think it's important to give a full year to toughen up. Otherwise it's just like a vacation. You know. That said, I became a boomerang kid. But hey, home health care, if you have good parents, then why not kind of take care of them. I mean, no matter if you had good parents, no matter what we do for our parents, we never repay them for them taking on the responsibility of raising us. You know, it's it's a lot to think about. And since I have not been a parent, I really don't have. The closest thing I have to relate to that is the pets that I've had, and you know, at least people can get insurance so their kids get taken care of. If you are too poor, who can afford to take an animal to the vet? At least my cats always got their first shots, and they were always fixed and stuff. And I still miss my Cassie and my Tabby boy, and Hobbs and Ace and Morris and Trouble. Mm, miss them dearly. All right, it is 3:06. I think I'm going to call it a night, you know, unless anybody has anything else to say. Oh, this is very, very seriously out of tune, and it's missing the G string. So, what people heard in the boardwalk wasn't very good. Oh, oh. Needs to be tuned. when you have a missing middle string and the G string is in the middle, it really makes your playing sound worse. All the picks are cross. Does anybody want to hear some really bad out of tune 5-string guitar? I wished I could have streamed from the boardwalk. Oh, and this keeps on coming loose from the strap lock too. I did something really stupid called squirrel. Squirrel. That's squirrel. Um, I just read on the boardwalk. It's not me. It's all my friends. Yeah, squirrel. That's squirrel. That's fun. Fun. Squirrel. Squirrel. Like you drink alcohol. It's not me. It's like being squirrel. Like squirrel. What? Like drink alcohol on the boardwalk. But not me. Because I'm a friend of Bill W. W. Bill W. Bill W. love. That is squirrels. And that's just a fucked up something that I just did for people because I'm tired of having people complaining all I do is play guitar out there and I don't sing. But the other night when Bob Cuntyfuck was out there, we were doing things. He was singing just random things to chord progressions. And then there was this guy, I gotta set this up. He had a long beard that had gray in it and had some darker. It was like striped naturally, and it looked really cool. And it was really soft. And he was saying that he put different things on it to soften it up. And he said beard butter. And then I was playing this chord progression, and we started singing a song called Beard Butter. And anyway, it was one of these you had to be there things. And yeah. So when you don't have police intimidating people, then people can play music and maybe gather friends around and spread goodwill and happiness. And why anybody wouldn't be down with that, I don't understand. This is so ridiculous that this town, one of the few things it has going for it is the boardwalk, and the beach is free, and marijuana is legal in the whole state of New Jersey, and they relax so many things here in town. Like, I don't drink, so I don't have a dog in the hunt, but if you can actually carry around drinks, cocktails, beers on the boardwalk if you have it in a container sometime. That said, I seen cops wait, watching and hiding while homeless people take beer, wine, whatever, bottle and pouring it into a hiding container, but they watch them do it and they give them tickets. But they never catch me do anything like that because I don't drink. You know. So that's one thing I don't have to worry about. But I need a G string. It really fucks up the sound, you know? Absolutely. So yeah. Oh, somebody wanted to look at this. Prager U, if you don't know, they make really great videos. They have all these short 5-minute videos. There's this one I want to read about grief, or watch rather. I don't always agree with the guy. Like, he doesn't like weed, for instance, and he's not pro-choice. I am. You know how I stand about the weed. But he is. I feel really bad for him now. His dog Otto just died, and so that's what inspired his grief video. I hope that doesn't move over. So, hey, if anybody wants to buy a railroad crossing sign, let me know, because I've moved it from the other apartment, and it's kind of heavy. It's a full size railroad crossing. You see where it comes up to me, and it would go perfect to the right person. All right. Uh, you guys have a good night, and I will talk to you soon. Be careful and smoke them if you got them. I'm gonna wash my face and take a shower. Go to bed. See ya.